What's going on, guys? Unknown Player here, and today we have an absolute mountain of stuff to talk about regarding, of course, Destiny 2. So I've gone through and collected every single hint and reference and Easter egg that gives us clues about what the September Comet DLC is going to involve. Lots of interesting stuff I found, of course, regarding the Queen, which isn't a surprise, but actually the 9, Cayde 6, and the Prison of Elders. I also wanted to talk about, believe it or not, the future of Bungie and the games they're making. So they've actually talked a bit about working on more games besides Destiny, which is super interesting. And as well as that, round up some more of the latest news, loot rewards, and announcements you may have missed. So hopefully you enjoyed today's video. Of course, if you do and want to support this channel, hitting the like button down below helps out a ton, and let's get into it. So before the Curse of Osiris DLC, we had lots of adventures, scannables, lore tabs, and even dialogue that hinted about Mercury, also a place called the Infinite Forest, and Osiris doing a bunch of stuff somewhere. For the Warmind DLC, we got a similar thing that hinted towards a Warmind needing our help, and also, of course, the famous quote about Mars, red sand, and ice caps, which, of course, is the Hellas Basin. The game is also, of course, littered with tons of hints saying that Savathun is watching us, she's on the way, and that she controls a Taken now. So that's, of course, going to be the Savathun DLC whenever that is. We know that Bungie love to lay hints and kind of references to where they're going next. So let's talk about the September DLC, a ton of stuff that not many people know about because they were snuck into a bunch of lore tabs and dialogue. So firstly, we have the new Trials of the 9 weapons. These were added in Warmind, so Season 3. Firstly is the Motion to Compel, which is the scout rifle, and you can see the discussion going on between the members of the 9, whoever they are. One of them says, look, her plan is coming together, always the clever one, always the smug one. She plays with weighted odds we waited. Shall we intervene? No, not yet, be patient, wait until the dynasty falls. The 9, if you couldn't tell already, are super strange creatures. We don't know what they are, who they are, where they are, or anything much about them. But if you remember the Taken King, you'll recognize the term her plan is coming together. That, of course, is referencing the Queen. Obviously, the Queen is heavily involved with the 9, but we still don't know exactly how. But some of you might remember the very last time we saw the Queen before the big Dreadnought battle, she was talking about her grand plan. When she supposedly got killed in the explosion, which obviously she didn't, she survived, she said this is all part of the plan. So it's pretty obvious when the 9 are talking about her plan, her is the Queen. Whatever this plan is, it does seem the 9 helped her with it, because one of them says how she plays with weighted odds, and it's odds that they waited. And the last one says wait until the dynasty falls. So we're not sure who they're talking about, who's going to fall. It could be the Awoken, could be us, the Guardians. But the word dynasty is one that pops up when you talk about the Reef and also the Awoken. So again, not sure exactly who they're talking about, but this is pretty interesting conversation from the 9. The next one, though, is even more interesting. This is the submachine gun, and this 100% confirms they're talking about the Queen. So it seems while they're speaking, someone has come to visit the 9, not sure how you do that, but they say, a trespasser, you're not welcome here, how did you find us? And the visitor says, she sent me, and the 9 say, you are not your Queen. So obviously talking about the Queen Marasov. Some of the 9 say, a puppet defined by scars, we have no need for you, we have our own puppets. But then one of them says, let her speak, and the visitor says, I came to discuss the future. So even more interesting stuff you can pick from this quote. So the Queen sent someone to go speak to the 9. Something funny is the 9 reference a puppet and say that we have our own puppets, we don't need you. Of course, that puppet they're talking about would be Xur, agent of the 9. Xur is the 9's puppet. They use him to kind of keep an eye on us, give us loot as well, but mainly keep tabs on the Guardians. Now, I do also have a theory on who this visitor might be. So it's a female that works for the Queen, and the 9 say defined by scars. Now, there's one female who does work for the Queen who has scars on the left side of her face, and that would be Petra Venj, of course, one of the main characters to the Reef and to the Awoken. She sends us on missions, she's a vendor in the Reef, but a female that works for the Queen that has scars, I do think this is Petra Venj. After the Queen disappeared and was thought to be dead, again, obviously she isn't, Petra Venj actually took over her role, and she's kind of in charge of the Reef now in the Awoken. After the Taken King and the Taken War missions, we do see firsthand that Petra is kind of in charge and calling the shots. So again, it does make sense for someone like her who's in charge to be going and seeing the 9. So this next item lore tab was also added in the Warmind DLC. So you can see a trend here, Bungie definitely teeing up the next expansion. This is on the exotic hunter gauntlets, the sealed Ahamkara grasps. It says, few things can see the light, but we are not blinded. The bearer seeks the truth. What separates the truth from fiction is fragile. A pair of truths and a single falsehood upon the bearer we shall impart. And then it says, brother ally once more sends his regards. Dreamer awaken, the bearer shall meet. Light fades deep within the prison. So this seems to be written from the Queen. She's saying her brother, Prince Alden, sends his regards, who again we know have seen a ton of hints towards. I've mentioned that before. He has a crash ship on Mars and has been allying with the Fallen, but he sends his regards and apparently is an ally to us once more. I'm pretty sure the bearer is supposed to be us, the Guardians, who are wearing these exotic gauntlets, but I'm not sure who the Dreamer is that's supposed to be awakened. The most interesting thing is it says light fades deep within the prison. Prison is with a capital P, so this is a place, and where have we seen that before? Of course, the Prison of Elders in the Reef. Now, this leads on to my next point, which is that it's very possible we'll see the Prison of Elders or just the prison in this DLC. DLC. This is a direct quote from Zavala talking about Rasputin and the threat of it. He says, Ikora is too intrigued by the knowledge it holds to heed the dangers. Cayde is wasting his time filling the prison of elders. It's up to me to keep the secret buried. So that is why we see so much of Zavala in the Warmind DLC, because Cayde apparently is filling up the prison of elders. Zavala also has a bunch of dialogue saying how Cayde 6 has been disappearing a lot. He's been really absent and goes on crazy missions, traveling all over the solar system and visiting the Reef. And of course the new Trials weapon also in Warmind, saying light is fading down below in the prison. Looking back, it's also very obvious that Cayde is going to be a big part of the September DLC, the next one. Out of the 3 Vanguard members, Ikora Rey was all over the Curse of Osiris DLC. That was basically her expansion. Then we saw Zavala in the Warmind DLC in all the cutscenes. Again, it was basically his DLC. So following that trend, it would make perfect sense for Cayde to be the focus of the next DLC. Now this is getting into my own personal speculation, I could be wrong, but seeing all these references about the Prison of Elders made me realize it would be the perfect place for a raid. And I'm not talking about the Prison of Elders activity or Horde mode or anything like that. I'm talking about an actual raid like Leviathan in the prison. The same way Callus was the kind of host and announcer of the Leviathan, Varix could be the same thing but for a raid in the prison. Maybe in the campaign for once we don't kill the villain and then he goes into the prison and that's where we kill him in the proper raid. And the prison is also the perfect place if Bungie want to continue with raid layers, because of course there are lots of rooms, different places and areas you could open up. Again, that's just my theory, something I've thought of with all these references to the prison. So a bunch of stuff that I found that I want to bring to your attention. Of course, speculate down below, what do you think of this stuff and what do you think is going to be in this DLC? So next up, jumping into some very interesting news. Bungie are actually now developing a new game with another publisher. So they're definitely not dropping Destiny, don't worry about that. And it's only a small part of Bungie, but they want to make multiple games and are doing so with the support of a new company called NetEase. So it's a Chinese technology company, apparently very successful, and they invested $136 million and actually purchased a part of Bungie Studios, which is super interesting. Now, even Activision doesn't actually own any of Bungie at all, or even Destiny. Bungie still owns the IP, but Activision own the publishing rights to Destiny. So this new company, NetEase, does now own a minority stake in Bungie, so in business terms, not enough to completely sway any decision and have their way all the time, but definitely enough to have a big say in what Bungie do. It's also worth noting for comparison that Activision invested $500 million in the entire Destiny franchise, which I believe covered Destiny 1, 2, and 3 and all the expansions. So the fact this new company, NetEase, invested $136 million maybe gives you an idea of the scope of what they're doing. It probably isn't going to be a big 10-year multi-game thing like Destiny and Activision. This may just be one game that gets continuous updates, but of course, that's just my speculation based on the amount of funding. It wasn't a massive secret. I do remember an interview back in like October where the CEO said they want to explore new games. They're excited to see what's beyond Destiny. I think most of us are definitely going to be very intrigued to see what this new game is, what genre it's in. Obviously, a lot of people blame Activision for all the problems that Destiny's had in terms of restrictions and kind of being forced to do stuff. So I'm sure a lot of those people have confidence in this new game, which has nothing to do with Activision. But also, on the other hand, a lot of people do think Bungie are to blame for Destiny's problems as well. So I'm sure those people won't have much confidence in Bungie making a new game. And technically, like I said, the way this deal went, NetEase do have more control and ownership over Bungie with this new game than Activision with Destiny. It is important to note that NetEase won't be publishing this new game. Bungie are doing it all themselves. I mean, for all we know, the game might not come out for another 5 years because this is a smaller group than the ones working on Destiny 2 and 3 right now. But yeah, some very interesting stuff. Of course, comment down below. I want to know what you guys think of this, and also, are you looking forward to this new game from Bungie? So next up, I want to show you guys a pretty special exotic that actually just dropped for me today. This is something you guys probably recognize, but it is the Other Side Sparrow. Of course, I've talked about this lots in videos. It is a very random item that for some reason was bugged and wasn't dropping in the game. And then with the latest update, Bungie just put it into all random strikes. So heroics, nightfalls, or prestige nightfalls, you can get this as a random drop. It seems fairly rare and hard to get, but not the same as like a nightfall strike drop, for example. I also did want to visit our good buddy Zerb, because this week he's actually got some pretty special stuff for me. But it's actually a perfect week for me. So he's selling this, which no one cares about. Telesto, very good gun. The Frosties for the Hunter, which I don't have, which I'm going to grab. And also the Eternal Warrior, another pretty, I don't think it's too good in this game. These are two of the only exotics I didn't actually have. So now those are checked off. I do have every single exotic weapon in the game, obviously apart from the spindle. But now that I've got these two, that leaves just one exotic armor piece that I don't have. And that would be the Armamentarium for the Titan. So unless this engram is broken, I should get it right now. And there it is, the Armamentarium. And that is every single exotic in the game complete. It looks like someone scraped out his eyeballs. This is stuff of nightmares. Something else that dropped for me recently that I'm pretty happy about is the catalyst for the Crimson. I've played this game a lot and I've only got 3 so far. I got one for the Darcy first one. I also got one for the Vigilant Swing. I've done like nothing for this. I honestly don't use the Vigilant Swing. I just love the Crimson. So that's why I'm happy I got the catalyst for it. So we've done 39%. I know a ton of you guys have a bunch of catalysts I've seen. So let me know which ones you have. But to be honest, this is probably the main one I care about because the weapon I use all the time. Now, I'm also getting pretty close to 380 across all my characters, and hopefully maybe we can get it now. I think we'll have to get pretty lucky with the armor drops, but it is possible technically. So you got one helmet and a fusion rifle, which is always nice to see. The helmet is 75, which is cool. That'll be 380. All right, let's see what else we got. We have a chest piece and a sniper. Cool, that is also 380. I'll put this into this one. Shax, do you have some gauntlets for us? No. All right, Hawthorne, help me out. We got... You have, oh, what is that? So like I said in a recent video, I always try and avoid infusing masterwork items to get the cores. If it was primary, I'd probably just throw a mod into it, but for now, I'll probably shouldn't infuse it. I don't need cores that much. All right, so now that's 380. Now we just need arms. If we get arms, are we good? No, we just need arms and legs. We got neither. Cool. Cool story, bro. So we didn't quite get to 380 this time. We got to 379, but I do have my warlock. Depends on the RNG gods, I guess. Let's see what we get. We got one armor piece. Oh, it's not even 75. It's just 73. Well, I guess that'll be 78. We got a bond, which is 74, so that's a little bit closer. So we need helmet, arms, and boots, I believe. We have a helmet, which is cool. So we'll chuck that in there to make this 78. Hawthorne, with your fixed clan XP engram, well, you got another helmet and another fusion rifle. Another helmet that looks very, very cool, but unfortunately is not very good. So we have 80, 70, 78, 72, and 79. Another helmet. Cool. And another grenade launcher. I'm pretty sure I've got like all heavy weapons this entire... Every single engram I've just opened. I'm actually really enjoying the kind of level up grind in this DLC. It's kind of like a journey to 385, and you guys seem to enjoy watching it as well. I probably could have hit it last week if I wanted to, but again, I'm not in a massive rush. I kind of enjoy having something to do. But yeah, that's going to do it for today's video. As always, I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, then of course, like ratings down below, always much appreciated. It helps out a ton. Gonna have a bunch of videos going up on Tuesday with the big September DLC reveal. So if you're not already subscribed, make sure you do so. Gonna be a lot of exciting stuff and announcements you don't want to miss out on. If you want something else to watch in the meantime, you can click this image on screen right now to watch another video from me. But as always, I appreciate you all for tuning in. Hopefully you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you all in the next one.